Hey guys, welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing TharnType the series. I'm your host Alexa, and with me are my co-hosts Pixie and Coco.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. So TharnType, Coco's going to give you a little intro on the series, and I just wanted to say that it's available for watching on Line TV and on Netflix as well. So Coco, tell us what it's about.
Okay, well, it starts off like Type, who is homophobic and very vocal about this. He does not hide the fact that he hates gays, and so happens to move in with Tarn, who is gay and doesn't hide it, and things develop from there. The love, hate, so something. No spoilers. So yeah, they're just moving together, and it's just they go to uni?
So my general thoughts about this show is this was the first one that got me back into BL. It was a year ago. I noticed everyone on K-pop Twitter was talking about it. So I ended up okay, well, we'll see what's it about. I had never seen any Thai shows in my life. So this was an interesting start. I remember when I watched it, I really liked it. I didn't think too much about what I was watching. It's just it's a romance. I didn't analyze anything about what was happening. I didn't think too much about it. And that made it good because Mew and Golf's chemistry is amazing. So that just makes the whole show I just could ignore or not ignore, because I didn't acknowledge a lot of the points that people have problems with. So my first impression of TharnType was I fell in love with it, and it was what made me watch everything else that was Thai BL and just got me into the whole community. So for that, I really love TharnType. But I do have afterthought after being in the community and learning more about the genre and about LGBTQ community and just everything. I have problems with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think a lot of people have stronger issues with it than I have, but I do see some stuff in it that's unnecessary. It didn't have to be there to drive the story, and it does have a good plot twist, but there's not a satisfactory tie-in for the end. I think that there's a lot of fantasy in this, not in the sense of unicorns and fairy magic, but in the sense of it's not portraying what reality is. It's not portraying a real gay relationship, right?
Right.
There's a lot of stuff in it that wouldn't, any gay man would tell you, is not how it works. Right.
Yeah, we talked about the ice cube scene before in the past.
Oh my god.
Yes.
In this one, but just for one example.
Yes.
I'm sure most people, even if they haven't seen the show, have heard about that scene. Because I haven't seen it, and I knew about it even before we talked about it.
Yeah, I do think the series could probably have been better if Mame didn't have such a huge role in making it, to be honest, because she's very set in her story. And I think that she doesn't do enough research, and she's very set in her perfect fantasy world of BL that doesn't reflect real gay relationships. So, but like I said at the beginning, when I first saw it, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But on afterthought, it's not so good.
Yeah. I feel like you always have an attachment to those shows that kind of hook you into a genre or a type of community. So you're always going to have that attachment to it in that way, even if you realize now that the show is not perfect. Coco, what are your thoughts?
What about you, Coco?
Yeah, I was kind of the same as Pixie. The first drama Thai BL drama that I watched was Lovesick. And then I think maybe it was, what's the other one with?
Make It Right?
No.
Sodas?
Make It Right.
Make it
Make It
right,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that was maybe the second one, and then I was just like, then I was like back to K-dramas. So then TharnType was like the kind of the thing that I watched next, and I kind of like that kind of like fizzled out, and I think I found the Saber, and then I think I finished it, but I was a bit like going from Lovesick to TharnType, like a bit of a
Two
switch.
extremes.
That's sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I agree with Pixie. Like, it's a very like fantasized way. Like, their relationship, like relationships are not like that. Like, someone, even like when you hear like of how the book bits in the book that aren't in the show, it's like very controversial, and like they don't happen like that. And anyone, no one would like go from. No one wants to get groped in their bed when they're drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
so
seriously, it's like straight up sexual harassment without
yeah,
any repercussions for it, or any like it doesn't move the story forward either. Like you could actually just write it differently and get the same
yeah,
result. I feel it's very lazy writing, or it's very fantastical writing. Like it's the
yeah.
whole fantasy world.
Romanticized. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Mame is like really like hooked up on the sexual like side of it,
Yeah.
I think, which is what she relies on, I think, for most of it.
Mm.
But like, if you took out the controversial stuff, you wouldn't really need it. Like, the story would still be there without like being grew up in the bed and then like the other stuff. Like, you don't the romance story would still be there. It would
Yeah.
just have you would enjoy the show more because you wouldn't have to think about all the other stuff that
Right.
shouldn't be in.
I'm a little bit sad that they didn't rewrite it to be less controversial, because Mew and Golf had such a good chemistry. They would have completely pulled off a tamer story,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you still could have made it hot without
You
including
look at
some of the
Max and
stuff that was
Tall.
included.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think Mew and Golf could have pulled it off, and I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't. But like I said, it's probably Mame's hand in the whole thing that
Yeah.
made
Trying
them
to keep it true to the
keep it
books.
like that. Yeah. So for my rating, honestly, when I first saw it, I would rate it as a 4 that watch if you're bored. Because like, while it was amazing when I was watching it, there was still like there was issues with it. So I wouldn't like call it like the best BL ever. But right now, when I'm more conscious about stuff happening and I notice things in plot holes and just the fantastical nature of it, I would put it at a meh.
Yeah.
I have issues with putting it on a scale because I sort of kind of feel like everyone should watch it, but at the same time, I wouldn't recommend it to my friends.
Right.
And what about you, Coco?
Oh no, I think like I still like it as a show, but we all know the reason why. So if Mew's there, I'm there. But I think I would give it maybe a 4. Like, watch it if you're bored. Like, I'm sorry, it's not a 3, but I think like it's a good show. Like, if the controversial stuff, like if you know about it and you don't want to see it, then don't watch. But I think if you just ignore that stuff, like put it out your mind,
Yeah.
then it's an okay show.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to watch it, just keep in mind that there's a lot of stuff in it that it doesn't represent the community, it doesn't represent gay relationships, and
Yes, very important.
just enjoy the fantasy of it if you're gonna watch it. Because if you do that, then it's a good story and it's a good show, and Mew and Golf do amazing. So yeah.
So that is our spoiler-free segment of the show. So if you haven't seen TharnType and you want to avoid spoilers, now is the time to click out. And if you want to watch the full review later, you'll be able to find it over on our Patreon. It is going to be a Patreon exclusive for the full review. So now we're going into spoilers, so be warned.
Yes. Okay, like the first thing you need to talk about is, of course, the freaking ice cubes.
Oh my God, didn't someone like, I remember the conversation and didn't someone say like water is the worst thing? So an ice
Yeah,
cube is
didn't you
not
ask
going to
one of your
help.
friends, Pixie?
Yeah, I had to go and ask like a gay friend of mine if that actually works. And what I got back was just like, no way in all hell, that has to be torture. Because you're putting something like freezing around one of the most
Yeah, I was gonna
sensitive
it's
areas you
cold.
have. Yeah, it's madness. Like you could really destroy yourself. And who uses water as lube,
Yeah,
right?
that's not lube.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Like, okay, I understand that she was going for something sexy here, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
not
like
at
if
all.
you if you have any like realistic idea of like what sex is like, which I mean, I'm sure plenty of people who read her novels and watch the show do not, but like if you
Hmm.
go into it like even with any like medical or just basic educational knowledge about sex, you would realize that like this is not a sexy
That's not
thing to
how
be
it
doing
works.
during
Yeah.
sex. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, and her stories are very filled with like they don't use like condoms or lube or
Hmm.
anything like it's very unrealistic to like normal sex.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one thing like I really, really hate about this is that the lack of research and the lack of consciousness towards like a gay relationship. It's pure fantasy, the whole thing.
Yeah. Just coming after like off of like the conversation with Jamie and Roni where they talked about
Mm-hmm.
how she'll ask her friends, like she'll have friends who
Mm-hmm.
help her with the research for it and
Mm-hmm.
make sure that she's understanding how things work. I mean, even in Lovely Writer, which is a fictional series, they show him doing research on how to write sex scenes. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I don't know when Mame wrote this novel, like if she wrote it a long time ago or when she was younger, but like it would have been nice if they like updated it and at least made it more realistic for like television
Yeah.
for a modern setting.
Yeah, and honestly, like they've removed a lot of the controversial stuff from the books. Like I couldn't even get through the books. I
Mm-hmm.
think I stopped around it was around like the shower scene where he's forcing himself on Type and putting their
Yeah.
private parts together and yeah, jacking like both of them off in at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. It's yeah, it was even like I'm used to yaoi. I'm used to like really actually hardcore stuff, which I've been reading in manga form for years. But
Mm-hmm.
this really took the cake. This is even too much for me. I mean, and it's a book, and I don't mind controversial stuff in books, but like her constant writing about like it's just too aggressive and it doesn't fit into the story. Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be there.
And that's a lot coming from Pixie, who likes aggression typically, and like you said, like you
Yeah.
typically don't mind controversial stuff when you're reading it. So like
Yeah.
if it's too much for you, then that's saying something.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised that her work is so popular as it is because there's too much. It's
It's kind of
just
just the same stuff. Like it's like even Tarn type
yeah,
2 it's kind of just like sex, sex, sex again. So it's like
yeah.
can't you just be a bit like do something
Yeah.
different?
It's like I know you think we're all like horny fangirls, but I think we all hit
I
a
just
point
want
where we're
some
like,
fluff.
yeah,
Yeah.
sex is great and like yeah, sex is realistic, but like having sex constantly is not realistic
Mhm.
for anyone. Maybe when you first start dating.
Yeah. And I wouldn't really mind if they were horny all the time either, but it's just so aggressive all the time.
Yeah.
Later in the books, I because I got a snippet of like one of the later chapters when they've been together for a long time, and then you have like Type getting all horny ass on Tharn and doing it in a McDonald's
Oh my
bathroom.
God.
I'm just, what is this? Like, how
Oh my
is that?
gosh.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so
how come on, like pick somewhere a bit more sanitary. He can't put it. McDonald's, really?
And apparently
McDonald's.
he's like a sex deviant because he gets Tharn all hyped up without finishing off. So he leaves Tharn all
Oh my god.
in the bathroom, even though he hasn't gotten. Yeah, it's so wrong. But I respect if someone has a different opinion on this. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just it's too much for me.
Not the cup of tea here.
Yeah, and one of my issues too later in the book with the plot twist with Long. I really like that.
Oh my.
It's an amazing plot twist. Like, I didn't see it coming, and I'm usually really good at guessing stuff like this. And I didn't see it coming at all.
But that guy needs to be punished. Like, what kind of ending is that?
Yes, he did not get any punishment. He did not go to jail after getting some people to rape a guy and then beating the crap out of Type. And he still doesn't get punished. And Tharn's brother goes to see him and forgives him?
What? If that was a real world, they would like hunt them down and like it's amazing.
And no one is talking about like the brother's best friend who basically raped Tharn when he was 14.
Yes, that is so. And then it's just so weird and awful. Like, why is no one bothered by that?
And like Tharn's big brother knows about it, and he
still
thinks it like it's fine. They're still friends. And he lets him be around his brother all the time still. It's so wrong. There's no consequences to actions. And I just don't understand why no one is talking about, like, everyone is so high on their horse about a non-con and all that. And they're not talking about, like, a 14-year-old having sex with someone who's way older.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It just grinds me. Like, they just ignore that fact and hang on to like Perth when he was like 17 and doing Love by Chance, and like people have a problem with that because he's under 18, and apparently this is a problem, but like a fictional character who has sex at 14, that's fine. What?
I mean, I didn't even know about that, so I don't know. And obviously, like,
because no one is talking about it.
Yeah, and like I'm coming from someone who like I haven't seen it or read any of it, but like I knew about the stuff that happened between Tarn and Type that was, you know, controversial because that part has been talked about. But like, I'm surprised that there's not more around some of the side plots that have come that I'm hearing about here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's see, this is the kind of stuff which, like, I know you were just like, everyone should maybe watch this, but I don't do well reading or watching about sexual assault, so I don't think I would be able to get through it. Even taking, like, I'm not the type who can, like, put that kind of stuff out of my mind. So, like, I just think that I personally would not be able to get through it. And, like, I really do like Mew and Goff as people and, like, enjoy watching them interact together in real life. So, like, I hate that I don't think I can watch that show, but like I just don't think I could get through it.
I think like Golf getting a role where he's not like this aggressive, gay hating, cursing, whatever he is in TharnType, it would be amazing. He would do so well in a fluffy role where he's just smiling and just being cute.
Yeah, but, it's one of those things where, like, as much as I love Max Tool, like, I don't love Together With Me anymore, and so it was really refreshing to see them come back in a new role. So I think that would be really cool to see from you, Goff, if it ever happened.
Yeah, I hope it does. Like, they shouldn't have done a season 2 of TharnType, in my opinion. No. They should have given them a new show.
Season 2s just always seem to fall flat.
Yeah. It was just like them having sex, like, in a car and in the bathroom of a club. It's just like sex everywhere. I would rather have more content from the side couples, but I feel like even though people were complaining about, I know this is when I talk about season 2, but even people were complaining about Mew Gulf not having enough content, I feel like we could have done with less of them and more of the side couples, because I wanted to see more of them. Like, we've already had one season full of Mew Gulf, like, give what other like people.
Yeah. But like, bottom line, I think that people who like TharnType shouldn't be ashamed of that. You're allowed to like it. Like, as a fantastical story that has no root in reality, it's fine. It's fine. If you like it, then like it. It's not something you think too much about. It's not a deep show. It's like, it's just a show.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I do think that it should be talked about, the problems with it.
Yeah.
Without shaming people who like it, right? Because they're not liking the non-con, they're not liking the romanticizing of all this stuff. That's not what they like. They like the brainless story, right? They're not thinking about the other stuff, and that's fine. But like, we should be able to separate talking about what's okay in these shows and just enjoying a show, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think there is something to be said for being able to acknowledge that even if you like something, there are things wrong with that show. And that doesn't mean you have to automatically hate it, but you can be critical of something you like and acknowledge its issues and still be a fan of it.
Yeah.
So I've never liked the way people shame people for things like that, as much as like I said, like it's not something that I would watch, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, God, I can't believe you guys could watch scenes like that. Like, it doesn't help the narrative at all. It doesn't contribute anything to changing the way people view or talk about these shows. So it just doesn't serve a purpose, if you ask me, to shame people like that.
Yeah, because if you were shaming me for my likes, I would just ignore you, because like, why would I allow myself to get attacked by someone for something I liked?
Yeah.
I would just ignore the conversation completely and just go down like, think that you're stupid anyways. Like, you're attacking me. Like, why would I listen to you? So having a conversation is so much better than automatically telling someone that you're disgusting for liking that, right?
Exactly. I agree. If there's a narrative you want to see change, attacking people isn't the way to get that done. Like, if you want to stop seeing non-con and sexual assault and BLs, like, you can't go and shame every person who's ever watched a non-con scene in BL, because honestly that's most of us, because there's not a lot of consent in a lot of BL, especially the older ones. So like, you know, we're all in the same boat here. And like, yes, like you said, we've all, you know, as we learn about the genre and develop more views about it, like, we understand those issues, but like, exactly, like, fighting people and shaming people about it gets us nowhere.
Yeah, and like, hashtagging cancel Mame isn't gonna make Mame become like a better, more conscious writer. She's just gonna ignore it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. She has a lot of people that support her, so she's not gonna listen to people who try to cancel her.
Yeah.
They're like internet trolls.
Like, she won't see it, and that's if that's
she will
who you
ignore
want
it.
to. Exactly.
Yeah, but like, if you have a conversation with her and ask her a question, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Don't you think that it would be better if you did this way? And like, just have a normal conversation and realize that you're talking to other people. Like, they might have a different thought process, but it's not, that doesn't mean that you should like lash out.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
We got a bit tangenty there, but you know.
Yeah. I think it fit the topic. So
yeah. Any final thoughts on the show before I wrap it up?
I have one pet hate, which is like really stupid, but like Tom saying ta ta all the program, I was gonna kill him. Like, I didn't need, like, go away, stop saying that name. I was like, every episode, like, ta, ta. Will you shut up, please?
God, I forgot about Tom and Tar. I think I blocked them from, like, that's one part that I just don't like in shows, and I didn't like it when I was watching it too. I don't like incest.
No.
To the point that I wouldn't like stepbrothers or been living together but not blood related brothers. I don't like that either. And that's just me. That's one of my things.
All right, well, that is our review of TharnType the series. Let us know what you guys think about the show in the comments on Patreon down below. And feel free to give us suggestions of what else you would like us to review in the future. And we will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
That's good.
Bye.
Bye.